Hi everyone, good morning, and we are here to welcome you to 35th episode direct of the Transform series. We are doing everyday morning 10 a.m. session on our Damn City YouTube channel as well as on our eMedicoz app. And our goal of this series is I'm Dr. Sumer, and with me I have Dr. Deepti. Our goal is to talk about different aspects of your preparation strategies that you need at the right time. And today we
Absolutely.
believe is the right time to talk about the INICET exam taking strategy. So, Rodipti, what is your take on it?
Okay, the first and the most important thing, do not get overwhelmed with the name, right? So, a lot of times you think you need something more, okay? Or the name itself, INICET, is so, overwhelming that some of you already feel halfway defeated. So, no, go out to the exam thinking that this is just another grand test, it's just another CBT, right? And I am going to do to the best. I have been well prepared for this. It doesn't matter what the name of the exam is. You have to tell yourself, most importantly, and it's just not on the exam day. Exam day bhi to ye bahut zaruri hai hi hai. But other than that, also you have to tell yourself that I am well prepared for this exam and I'm going to do good. It is just another CBT.
And also, it's very important to realize this fact because last year we saw, and I'm sure people who are reattempting would agree, NEET PG was more tough than INICET.
Yeah.
But when you're imagining it in your head, you're thinking INICET is a something big deal. But actually, NEET PG was more difficult last year than the last entire years of INICET papers. So don't let the name overwhelm you. And why this is important is if the name is overwhelming you, there are chances that you will make silly mistakes in the exam. Like what Deepti always tells that suppose you are thinking कि अरे एम्स वालों ने पूछा है तो कुछ अलग ही होगा, क्लास में तो कुछ और बताया है लेकिन ये तो एम्स है, कुछ और पूछा होगा, you make a silly mistake. So don't let it overwhelm you right now. Don't let it overwhelm you on the day of the exam, and don't rule yourself out. ये मत सोचो कि यार ये कोई बड़ा एग्जाम है मेरे लिए नहीं है. I have seen many children who are able to do well despite not doing well so far, लेकिन एग्जाम वाले दिन वो अच्छा कर पाते हैं. तो अभी रूल आउट नहीं करना अपने आप.
Absolutely. Now, what is the second important thing? The second important thing on the exam day is कि जब हम morning में we are going to the examination hall. I know there are different perspectives, so Dr. Sumer will share his perspective. But I would say don't try and read a lot in the morning of the exam, right? If you have a wrong diary, fair enough, you can go through that. And if you have certain pages of DVT book which you have bookmarked, you can go through that. But I would suggest right in the morning itself, don't try and do a lot of things. Sometimes उससे क्या होता है ना, दो चीजें भूल गई तो आपको लगता है ओ गॉड मुझे शायद सब भूल गया. I'm there's a blackout. And these things have really happened to us when we were in the exam going phase, right? We've given multiple exams in our medical life. In fact, I don't know how many we have given. There's loads and loads of them, right? So even if you do want to read in the morning of the exam, read very limited, very restricted things which are clearly written in front of you, right? So don't trouble yourself and don't get into this thought process that you're not able to recall or there is a blackout.
Now I'll tell you a small secret, and this is a secret that is used by all high achievers. Now imagine now, suppose you walk down into a stadium which is full of people watching you. You know your anxiety, your overwhelmingness would increase because suddenly you see a lot of people with a lot of expectations around you.
Yes.
Same thing happens in the day of the exam. When you will go to the exam hall, and I'm sure some of you might have done it earlier also, and I'm sure you've done it in the school days also. Whenever you reach the exam hall, you will see a barrage of cars and bikes, the traffic jam, parents, children, and you will find everybody reading books and notes and material that you've never heard about. You'll be so like, wow, it is happening, and it is overwhelming. And at that moment लगता है कि यार इस एक सेंटर में इतनी भीड़ है, इतने लोग हैं, तो फिर बाकी में कितने होंगे और मैं क्या कुछ कर भी पाऊंगा कि नहीं कर पाऊंगा. So, to counter this overwhelming exam day, my strategy is, and I follow it every day in my life. Those of you who have attended my face to face lectures also would agree. What I do is, I always reach before time. Like, for example, suppose the exam is supposed to happen at 9 o'clock and you're supposed to reach at 8. I would reach at 7:15. At 7:15, the Indian Standard Time by now, most people would not be there. I am the only one having a comfortable seat, and there is no traffic jam, no parents, no other students, nothing. I'm just sitting there outside the exam hall. I'm just 45 minutes early. Now, one by one, the crowd would build up, but it would not induce the panic on me because it is going to happen on a more gradual manner, just like a time lapse.
Yes,
There is a
it's
time
a
lapse happening,
sensitization.
and I don't get overwhelmed by anything happening around me. I do the same in my lectures. Whenever I have to do a big lecture or I have to do a big talk, I usually reach before time. I'm already on the stage, even before the audience are there. Maybe I might be behind the curtain, but I'm already there. So the audience would build up, build up, build up. It never overwhelms me. And we have to understand a large number of people, if you see for the first time when you're competing against a big crowd, it is overwhelming, it is anxiety inducing, you will tend to make silly mistakes. You have to reach before time. L-
And
let
that's
the
why
crowd
we
reach.
say go to CBTs. Yes, that's exactly why we say sensitize yourself. Go and do the
And
CBT
second thing is that
center.
if you have done it before, if you have seen a similar thing before in the recent past, now all of us have given an exam beforehand. So you might say, "Sir, मैं हो गया ना desensitize." वो पहले हो गया ना, पुराना हो गया ना, स्कूल के टाइम पे तूने दिया था competitive exam. अभी CBT, डैम CBT में जब कंप्यूटर सेंटर में जाते हैं, we are in a recent past experienced the same thing earlier. It would not affect us in the same manner in the real exam day. In that you can add the elements of travel also. Sometimes the exam center is a little far off, and also we have to add an element of uncertainty in the exam halls. There will be people who will be talking, there will be computers which will be slow, there will be fans which will be making noise, there will be ACs which will not be working.
Yes.
Everything can happen. So you have to get to know yourself as a person. How do you react? Like me and Dr. Deepti, we had a student. We were taking an interview. I think 2 years back. He said, "Sir, इतना पंखे का आवाज था कि मेरा पेपर खराब हो रहा था." So, boss, एक साल है, यही मौका था, इसको पंखे की आवाज से क्यों खराब कर दिया? We have to get acclimatized. So that is where reaching early, giving a CBT early helps.
Okay, now once we have reached, what is the next thing to do? Okay, a very, very personal thing that I do, and I think it works. Okay, I always, whenever I enter an examination hall, before that, I always say a thank you message. Even before a class, I say a thank you message because I presume it's an opportunity which I have got. Many others may not be getting it. Someone may not be able to give the exam because of their circumstances, but I am here. I've been given this opportunity. And presuming that I will do well, I always say, thank you, God. Give me the ability to be my best. A little prayer has a very calming effect. So when you enter the hall, presume that this is your playground. It is your, karam bhumi, and you are going to be your best version there. Those 3.5 hours make a lot of difference. I know you've spent 6 months, 7 months, 8 months preparing for it, but the karam bhumi is those 3.5 hours. So you will all do your karma, and you will ask God to give you the right strength, the right mental ability, and the concentration that you need. है ना, हम सबको पता है, बहुत सारे बच्चे मेहनत करते हैं, आप भी बोलते हो ये बात, सब मेहनत कर रहे हैं, लेकिन शायद सबको सेम रिवॉर्ड नहीं मिलता है ना. सो इसीलिए लेट अस बी थैंकफुल. भगवान जी को पहले ही थैंक यू बोल देते हैं कि उनको देना ही पड़े, राइट? वी विल नॉट गिव एनी प्लान बी टू भगवान जी ऑल्सो. यस.
And
सो
not
जस्ट
not only that, I think Dr. Deepti has mentioned a very important thing. She's not looking at an exam as an problem. She's looking at it as an opportunity, as a playground. Just like when you go to, play a sports match, you don't go to say कि मेरे को problem है, मैं cricket खेलने जा रहा हूँ. You say आज जीतने जा रहे हैं. So when you look at it as an opportunity that you have the good fortune of sitting there. बहुत सारे लोग डॉक्टर नहीं बन पाते, बहुत सारे लोग स्कूल के आगे नहीं पढ़ पाते. You are sitting there at the verge of a gate. Look at exam as a gate to the next part of your journey. So that is very important. Second small thing that I wanted to mention before we forget is read the instructions carefully.
वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
Sometimes,
अभी मैं
some,
बाहर थी एग्जाम हॉल की, अब मैं अंदर पहुंच गई हूँ. सो नाउ डॉक्टर समीर
sometimes
इज
what
टेलिंग
happens
once you're
is,
inside.
yeah, sometimes once you read the instructions, sometimes they're different from what you might have seen in a mock test or in the last year's paper. Sometimes they change a small sequence. Like in one of the UG exams, undergraduate exams, in the assertion reasoning, A, B, C, D are supposed to have a certain sequence.
Order.
They change the sequence in the exam. And if you
Yes.
don't read it, you will get those questions wrong.
No
Read
overconfidence.
Yes. Read the instructions. Are they going to count if I leave a question mark for review and I don't save it? Will it be counted or will it not be counted? Traditionally, in INICET, they don't count the mark for
Yes.
review. So it
Yes.
is very
Very
important.
important. It's very different from NEET PG.
These tiny little things will give you the edge that you know the paper. So my advice number two is in this paper of INICET, don't mark too many for review because if you don't get time, you'll not be able to do it. Also, I want you to know in this paper, usually they have four blocks. Again, subject to changes because we have seen in the all the government papers, they throw some surprises. They like that. But you know, you are a warrior, you are prepared for that. Usually they have 50 questions, four blocks. And you have to finish it in a matter of, I think, 45 minutes. You have to finish 50 questions. My suggestion to you is be decisive on each question so that you are not dilly-dallying too much because you have less time, less than a minute per question. Be decisive. करना है, ये लग रहा है, करते हैं. ऐसा मत सोचो कि वापस आके करेंगे. Be decisive. And
Okay.
Dr. Deepti, please.
Yes, so since we have now started with the exam core things, Dr. Sumer has already highlighted the first aspect of it. Coming to this aspect. Now, a lot of you have very basic queries also. I know there is no one way of doing an exam, but there is certain way we should follow. For example, when you're getting the question, it is always better to do it in the sequence that it comes. Don't leave too many questions because then you may not get time to come back even in that set. Suppose the end few questions are more tricky, right? Then you may not get time to come back. So as Dr. Sumer said, try and attempt as many as you can while you're going through in the sequence. Keep less mark for review, and if you're doing that, be very conscious of that. The third thing I want to highlight is, which I also got as a query after CBT, is that there are two kind of questions. Sumay sir has already talked about it: overthinking and underthinking. Now, please understand to ensure that we are taking care of time management. If the options of the MCQ are factually placed, okay, they're factual options. It is usually better that if there are factual options, we are not going to think a lot. So if you're confused between two options A and B, go with the one which seems more obviously correct rather than one where you have done a lot of thinking, integrating, and then you think, okay, B could also be correct, right? So when it is a factual option type MCQ, go with one option which is more obviously correct. Now, this is different from the other place where the question is a clinical vignette style question. Now, in a clinical vignette style question, when you are confused between two options, you have to think. You can't underthink, right? What some of you do is some of you only selectively see the keywords while ignore the other words. So you can't do that. So in a clinical vignette, if you're confused between two options, go back to the stem of the MCQ and look out for keywords in every line. If it's a 3-line MCQ, there will be at least one keyword in every line, sometimes maybe two. That's usually how we frame clinical vignette style questions. So उसमें थोड़ा think करना पड़ेगा, मगर factual वालों में it is always better to go with the one which is more obviously correct. This will reduce your number of easy questions going wrong. We cannot afford to do easy questions wrong, right?
And usually why a question is easy, we have to think also कि वो क्वेश्चन आसान क्यों है. आसान इसलिए क्लास में पढ़ाया गया है, डीबीटी में पढ़ा है, ग्रैंड टेस्ट में दिया हुआ था, आपने एलआरआर में किया, पीवाईक्यू के बाप में किया, आपने हमारे साथ किया हुआ है, आपने सुना हुआ है. Go with first instinct. That is what Dr. Deepti told you. If it is a direct question, you feel it is easy because you have already heard it before. Go with your first instinct. Don't overthink and create silly mistake. If it is a tough question, a long question, a new language question, which is possible, we have seen this in NEET UG also. इस बार फिजिक्स के पेपर में कैसे वो पूरा भाषा पूरा क्वेश्चन बदल दिया उन्होंने. तो घबराना नहीं है. सुनो मेरे बच्चे, घबराना नहीं है. अगर पेपर मुश्किल है, टेल योरसेल्फ,
तो वो
अभी बोल
सबके
दो,
लिए है.
अगर पेपर मुश्किल है, सबके लिए है, सबके लिए है.
Yes.
जो रट के आए हैं उनके लिए और भी मुश्किल है. मैं समझ के आया हूं, मैं रूल आउट करूंगा. Tell yourself this, that you have to use the method of elimination. I have seen in the past, in our past time when AIMS, PGI, JIPMER used to take separate paper, JIPMER once made a very tough paper. People actually blacked out of the paper, and
They
nobody could
always
solve
do.
the paper. Nobody could solve that paper. But in the end, even I think getting 40% was getting selected in the JIPMER. So the entire idea is don't panic, maintain your cool, tell yourself it's a new question, new question. I will eliminate the option. Don't guess on four choices. Eliminate, eliminate, eliminate. Then make the educated guess.
Yes. Now, next thing, which I think Dr. Sumer will answer because it is his forte. There are four sections, but you need to understand that all four sections may not have the same difficulty level. Some section may be slightly easier, some may be moderate to tough. Iska matlab, time management has to be kept in mind for every section, right? You have to start with the same pace. You cannot say, okay, I'll go slow in the first 15 minutes and then I'll rush in the last. No, you have to ensure that you are maintaining the time limit right from the first question in every set. Dr. Sumer, I want your inputs on that.
I think that's totally fair that you have to start at the same pace, but not only the time management, you also need to look at the number of attempts. Number of attempt means that suppose I am giving the first block. In the first block, if you leave 10 questions, that means in the total you will be at 190 and you have no scope left for other blocks. So each block leave around 2 to 3 question maximum. Tell this to yourself कि अगर 2 से 3 छोड़ूंगा तो जाके 190 पे आऊंगा मैं टोटल में. So 2 to 3, maybe in the fourth set, maybe कभी कभी ज्यादा मुश्किल आया तो you might have to leave 4. So don't leave too many questions in each block. Target 2 to 3. So your attempting ratio will be out of 50 block, you will be doing around 47 to 48 minimum in each set. Maybe 46, maybe 46 to 48 as an average. This should be your goal in your head. If you don't have this goal in your head, you mess up the first block, you will mess up your INICET seat. Also remember, there will be questions of different formats. Like there will be questions which will have more than one answer correct. Like 1 plus 2 plus 3 is correct. I want all of you to listen to me. Choices are 1 plus 2 plus 3 correct, 1 plus 3 correct, 1 plus 4 correct. Now, as soon as you see these choices, you already know 1 is there in all the choices. No need to read the statement number 1. This is how you calculate the multiple combination. एक तो है ही आंसर, अभी उसको हटाने का है, तो अब उसको पढ़ना भी नहीं है. That will give me effective time management to find out what is to be ruled out. So in multiple combinations, sometimes you will see the combination itself will tell you the answer. Similarly, in match the following, don't panic. If you're able to do one or two, you will be able to do the others because match the following multiple combination type questions will be there in the paper. I have seen up to 50 questions, many times 50 questions in the paper are multiple combinations and match the following types. Okay, so make sure that you are using the skills. Don't be afraid of them. अगर वन हर एक चॉइस में आ रहा है तो वन तो पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं है ना, वो तो हट गया ना. डिसाइडर वाले पढ़ने हैं कि एक में लिखा है 1 2 3, एक में लिखा है 1 and 3. इसका मतलब 1 और 3 तो ठीक है, 2 है कि नहीं है ये देखना है. सो यू ओनली रीड द स्टेटमेंट 2 and see if it is correct or not. Similarly, there is a pattern called as assertion reasoning in INICET. उसको पढ़ना नहीं, पहले देखना पहली स्टेटमेंट ठीक है कि नहीं है, दूसरी ठीक है कि नहीं है. तो असर्शन और रीजन पहले अलग अलग इवेलुएट करने, फिर देखना है कि उनके बीच में कॉज इफेक्ट रिलेशनशिप है कि नहीं है. यू विल ऑलवेज गेट दीज स्पेशल क्वेश्चंस राइट इन एनी सेट व्हिच आर देयर इन द पेपर.
Right. So very important aspects. Now the next aspect that we will definitely want to talk about is we've talked about time management, right? We've said that you are not going to leave a lot of MCQs, and this is exactly what we want to talk about. We keep getting queries about should we be aggressive while attempting the paper or should we be defensive? Now, we have interviewed many toppers over many years in the past. And what we have seen common in top 1,000, 1,500 people in INICET is that they are aggressive markers, right? Majority of them would attempt more than 190. A lot of them would attempt more than 195 questions as well. So please don't think कि अगर मैं बहुत defensive होऊंगा तो मेरे गलत कम होंगे. ऐसा नहीं होता है. You are bound to make some mistakes. Each one of us, even if you send us for the exam, we are also bound to make certain mistakes, right? In our own subject as well. So इसीलिए don't be very
one
defensive.
point we want to tell everyone is the rank 1 is getting 175 to 180 correct usually in the paper. अगर आपने 160 अटेम्प्ट किए and the rank one is getting 175 correct, you can't beat them. You understand? Because आपने तो उतने अटेम्प्ट भी नहीं किए जितने उसने ठीक कर दिए. इसका मतलब थोड़ा सा एग्रेशन की तरफ जाना पड़ेगा, बट डज नॉट मीन ब्लाइंड गेसिंग. इफ यू
Yeah.
ब्लाइंडली गेस नहीं जीत सकते. अब ये मत सोच के जाना कि सर ने बोला है कि अब मैं इंकी पिंकी करूंगा और मेरा हो जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं होता. You have to rule out options, get to the answer.
Right. Then certain aspects we have already talked about. For image-based questions, sir always says, what are you going to see first? The options. First the options, then the image, and usually the question is, very straightforward. What is the diagnosis? Sometimes it is integrated. Maybe it's a radiology, image, but what they are asking is the surgical aspect of management of it, right? Or, something else about it.
See, I'll tell you, in INICET paper, usually the integration is there with basic sciences.
Yes.
Suppose they show a X-ray of diaphragmatic hernia. In a patient, if we look at a chest X-ray of Bogdelic hernia, in NEET PG, they will ask you what is not to be done. What is not to be done? The answer will be bag and mask. While in any set when they show, they will show where is the defect located. So we know Bogdelic hernia is posterior and more on the left side. So that is where you need to remember. While Morgagni hernia is on the right side anterior. So they will try to go towards the embryology of it or the basic sciences of it. This is one of the big differences between NEET PG and INICET visuals. INICET visuals are basic science oriented. Even if it's a clinical visual, it tends to go backward towards the basic science. And that also tells us, and I think if you have seen the mission INICET already, which I'm sure all of you are smart enough to do it by now, if you have not done it, this is the time to do the mission INICET. Make sure that you do it and you are well aware of the topics that they're asking. INICET paper usually predictable, similar topics, but the choices are confusing. Basic sciences are predominant. Larger clinical subjects like obs and gynae, surgery, medicine are predominant. PSM predominant. ENT of tel, short subjects, variable. That is your usual marks
तो
distribution.
यूजुअली ऐसे करते हैं, ईएनटी कभी ज्यादा पूछ के ऑफ्था कम कर देते हैं, कभी ऑफ्था ज्यादा पूछ के ईएनटी कर देते हैं. सो
कभी शॉर्ट सब्जेक्ट ज्यादा करके पीएसएम कम कर देते हैं, कभी पीएसएम ज्यादा करके शॉर्ट कम कर देते हैं.
Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to talk about is a very important aspect, and that is, should we change our previously marked options? So a lot of you do have some time in hand, right? Let's say you have 10 minutes for this set, right? What are you going to do? First, go to your review questions. Ensure mark for review की जगह वो save हो चुका है और mark for review हट चुका है. That is the first thing you do when you have time. Please limit changing answers, because when you go back and change answers, most of the times it turns out to be the incorrect one, right? So keep the options that you have marked first, let them be there. Now, this is very different from a question which you did not attempt at all, right? Suppose you've left that question for the end. Then this is a different game altogether. You have to think about it, look at all the options, and then precisely decide. But if there is a question that you've already attempted, even if you feel a strong urge to change the answer, please don't. 99% of times, it turns out to be the wrong one, okay? Because you tend to overthink when you go through it again. So keep it minimum. I'm sure most of you have faced this problem in your CBTs, grant test, कि जब आप आंसर बदलते हो तो वो गलत हो जाता है ना?
So, we've in a nutshell talked about different aspects. So, we'll just quickly summarize. INICET paper usually predictable. Mission INICET gives you the most high yield topics that they usually ask. If you've not done it so far, please do it. It is doable. If you have access to INICET TND, you can see those papers. If you have not seen them so far, instead of now looking at the discussions, use them as a test paper. Complete all the papers. You can do them in 5 days. But अभी discussion के लिए time कम रह गया अगर अभी तक नहीं किया था. I saw some question being asked there.
Yes, it
Second,
was there.
in the paper, expect that first, second year predominance will be there. Then third, fourth year, the larger clinical subjects will predominate, and then PSM, the ophthal, ENT, short subjects will be there in the shorter corner. They would have less space as compared to other question papers. And also, we talked about the problem of overthinking, underthinking, approach to image-based questions, approach to multiple combinations, assertion reasoning, and match the following. This is
Dr.
the kind of
Sumit, can
paper
you
that
also just highlight once more, can you just highlight the time they should take very clearly per question and what should be a...
Usually the time per question less than a minute. Less than a minute is the time that you have in INICET, and I would strongly recommend be decisive. The problem is that suppose you are looking at a question and you know that this is the answer, that you're like चलो इसको बाद में करते हैं, इसको mark for review करते हैं, ऐसा करोगे तो गड़बड़ हो सकती है कभी कभी. I have seen even toppers say कि वो time is just enough, मतलब वो
Yes.
45 मिनट्स में जस्ट 50 खत्म हो रहे होते हैं, वापस आने का टाइम नहीं होता, वो सेव नहीं कर पाते, they don't count it. Don't mark too many for review is the message that we have for you here. And also we talked about the softer strategies of how to reach the paper, how to be, you know, desensitized to the anxiety, how not to get overwhelmed. This is, we wanted to do this video a little earlier because अभी कई लोग हम जो होशियार बच्चे होंगे, कई सारे बच्चे सोशल मीडिया से हट भी जाएंगे, which is a smart thing to do before the exam, but we thought, you know, we should tell you this today.
Okay, now, yes, the INICET predictor series, our predictor series has always been very, very effective. It's available for everyone on YouTube, right? We're doing it every day at 7 p.m. The papers are free for all. You can attempt the paper the entire day and attend the session live on YouTube. The paper is available in the quiz section of eMedicoz homepage. Then I'll just take up a few queries for next 2-3 minutes before we wind up the session. So Ishika is asking DVT plus mission plus PYQ kebab. Absolutely yes. This is more than enough for both exams, for INICET as well as for NEET PG. For INICET, I would say order रखो, पहले mission करेंगे और फिर last में DVT करेंगे. For NEET PG, I would say पहले LRR करेंगे और फिर end में DVT करेंगे. यही फर्क है. For NEET PG, we are going to replace mission INICET with LRR. The DVT is the constant, right?
And also, you know, have faith in your own ability. अभी ना सिर्फ जाने से पहले एक ही चीज कहना चाहेंगे कि ऐसा ना हो कि आप सोचे कि मेरे लिए ये एग्जाम है ही नहीं. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. Every year we see students from all kind of backgrounds, all kind of study backgrounds. We see them doing well in INICET. कोई बच्चा ऐसा भी होता है जिसका ड्रॉपर होता है, कोई ऐसा भी होता है जो बिजी इंटर्नशिप के साथ आया होता है, कोई ऐसा भी होता है जिसने फॉरेन मेडिकल ग्रेजुएट होता है, कोई ऐसा भी होता है जो पेरिफेरल कॉलेज में पढ़ा होता है. तो हर तरह का बच्चा सक्सेस पा रहा है. डोंट रूल योरसेल्फ आउट. कहीं ऐसी गलती मत करना कि आप इन 10 दिन में सोचो कि यार शायद मैं तो काफी हुई नहीं, मैं छोड़ता ही हूँ. शो अप इन द एग्जाम. हाफ द बैटल विल बी डन इफ यू गिव द एग्जाम. और नहीं तो तजुर्बा ही होगा, ये हमेशा याद रखना. और नहीं तो तजुर्बा होगा. कम से कम
अच्छा,
अपने
एक मेरे
फ्रेंड
को
सर को
बहुत
बताओगे कि
इम्पोर्टेंट,
सही पेपर दिया था, है ना. तो
एक मुझे
छोड़ना
बहुत
नहीं है.
इम्पोर्टेंट,
मेरा हर बच्चा पेपर दे के आएगा.
ओके, एक मुझे बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट बात याद आई है, स्पेशली फॉर पीपल लाइक मी हु आर वेरी इमोशनल. प्लीज डोंट गेट इमोशनल इन द पेपर. प्रैक्टिकलिटी से पेपर देना है. अगर आसान आ रहा है तो ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं होना है. ऐसा ना हो कि कुछ ऑप्शंस आप पढ़े ही नहीं, लास्ट लाइन आपने पढ़ा ही नहीं. अगर मुश्किल है तो भी आपने हौसला नहीं छोड़ना है कि ये सोच के कि अरे ये खराब हो गया, आप बाकी क्या, एक क्वेश्चन, 2 क्वेश्चन, 3 क्वेश्चन, even if you're not able to do them, it doesn't matter. So for all emotionally, very high EQ level people, I'm not talking about the IQ wala people, right? We are the ones with EQ and IQ. Okay, so please keep yourself emotionally blunt. Give the paper with a very realistic and a very practical approach. Okay, easy ho, mushkil ho, सबके लिए सेम होगा. बस आपने क्या करना है, just be calm in the paper and be your best version. ठीक है? So I hope you find this session helpful. Do let us know if you have any other queries that were unanswered. Me and Dr. Sumay will take it. Dr. Sumay, your closing lines.
I think, you know, I take a query first. एक बच्चा पूछ रहा है, सर कोई नया क्वेश्चन आ गया तो क्या करें. देखो,
हमेशा हो
वो
सकता है एलिमिनेशन से विद योर बेसिक
हो
नॉलेज.
सकता है कि कोई भी नया क्वेश्चन हो, लेकिन अनलाइकली है कि वो ज्योग्राफी का होगा या हिस्ट्री का होगा. होगा तो मेडिकल नॉलेज का ही. उसमें ना मैं क्या करता हूँ, आई विल टेल यू द सीक्रेट. आई ट्राई टू फाइंड अ विंडो टू द क्वेश्चन. जैसे अपन क्वेश्चन कर रहे हैं तो मैं सोचता हूँ कि यार इसमें मुझे कुछ भी नहीं पता, कुछ तो पता होगा, कुछ तो पता होगा. नहीं समझ आ रहा है, ट्रांसलेट द क्वेश्चन. आई ट्राई टू फाइंड द मीनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड. आई ब्रेक डाउन द वर्ड्स. In my mind, it is all happening in seconds. I'm breaking down the words, I'm translating, I'm finding out कुछ तो होगा जो मुझे पता होगा, और उससे मैं एलिमिनेट कर देता हूँ, and I improve my probabilities. So it is all about the game of probabilities. And also remember, just like Dr. Deepti said, जब आप पेपर दे रहे होगे, अगर मुश्किल है, सिर्फ एक चीज अपने आप को बतानी है, सबके लिए है. अगर आसान है, सबके लिए. ना ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट, ना पैनिक. be on the ground. Grounded people win. ना हवा में उड़ेंगे कि इतना आसान आ गया अब तो फोड़ देंगे सबके लिए हाई
अब
फाइव
let
और
them go
ऐसा
and
भी नहीं कि
study
भैया
now.
ऐसा भी नहीं कि इतना मुश्किल पेपर आ गया है ना. So on this note, we wish you all the best. Have a great day ahead and a very productive day ahead.
You took my words. Okay. Yes, everyone. Keep smiling and tell yourself you're good enough. Okay. Now every day I will tell you to tell yourself I'm good enough. Okay. No matter what, I'm good enough. Okay. Take care, everyone.